Couple weeks back, the Writers Guild America, the WGA strike ended, and we all threw a big celebration. The writers are going back to work. Everyone's going back to work. They made a deal with the studios. Finally, they came together. They talked. They got it done. Oh man, it was such a glorious, nice day for us fans of movies and getting the industry going again. And once the writers' strike ended, we all kind of thought, hey, you know what? Now that the writers have got a deal, the studios and the actors, they're meeting again. They're meeting pretty frequently these days. I think this actor strike is going to end pretty soon. I mean, I was sitting here just a couple weeks ago, and I was telling you guys that by this time, I thought that the actors would have been resolved. I thought that the actor strike would have been over by mid-October, no later than November. Oh man, no guys, things have taken a turn for the worst because they have completely broken down in their talks, their negotiations went sideways. Here's what Variety has to say about this, guys. Talks broke down last week between the major studios and SAG-AFTRA, with the studios saying that the gap between the two sides is too great to continue productive negotiations. Until they can bring the gap, SAG-AFTRA will remain on strike and the entertainment industry will remain shut down. So how big is this gap? About $480 million a year. That's the difference between what SAG-AFTRA wants in the new streaming residual formula, $500 million, and what the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, that's the AMPTP, that's the studios, are currently willing to pay, which is $20 million. The actors want $500 million, and the studios are willing to pay $20 in residuals. Going on with that, it goes on to say here, union leaders have said they expected to keep negotiations and were taken by surprise when the AMPTP walked away from the table. This is the actors union. But according to the AMPTP, the union gave an ultimatum demanding that the studios agree to its untenable proposal for a per-subscriber tax or else the strike would continue. So here's what basically happened here. The studios and the actors union, they met. They came to the table. They were negotiating. Another big thing that this article talks about is a big sticking point for the actors between the studios is, of course, the AI situation. But what it's saying here is it's saying the actors came to the studios and basically said, hey, your streaming services, they get like millions of subscribers. You know, you have like, I don't know, 20 million, I don't know, 120 million. I don't remember how much the streaming services have, but they have millions of subscribers. And the actors came here and said, you know, we want a cut of that. I think for every subscriber that you guys have, we should get some of their money that they give you. Does that sound fair? That's what they're saying. I read in a report somewhere that I think that they wanted 57 cents per subscriber, I think is what they were going for. But anyways, so that's what that means. Anyways, it goes on to say, streaming residuals have been central to both the writers and actor strikes. The WGA won a bonus for the most watched made-for streaming shows. So what that's saying, if you guys aren't aware of that, is they've set a limit for the writers. If their show makes this amount of watch time, basically, then in a certain amount of days, then the writers get residuals based off that. But there's a bar that they have to hit. So that's what the writers got for their residual with the streaming shows. And it's saying that the WGA was able to establish the principle that successful shows on streaming should pay more. But to do that, it was willing to settle for a relatively small amount of money, around $5 million a year at the outset, according to sources, and the WGA did not respond to request for comment. So here's what we got going on now, guys. And this is, I think it's official. I don't think this actor strike is going to get resolved this year. I've listened to a lot of insiders. I've listened to a lot of podcasts talking about this, and everyone's kind of saying, you know, with November coming around the corner, it's a holiday season. The industry usually shuts down for holiday seasons anyways. People go home to their families, take time off. This probably isn't going to get resolved until 2024. And the fact that the gap between the studios and the actors is this big. Now, you can argue, you know, pay the actors $500 million. How much money do you guys make? Give them a per subscriber base, settlement. Give them 57 cents per subscriber. I mean, look, I understand the temptation to say that, and I do want to say I am more so for the actors than I am for the studios. I'm not so sure a per subscriber count is fair. I mean, if you're working at a restaurant, if you're working at a grocery store or something, those businesses, they make billions of dollars, whatever you want to say. It'd be like, hey, for every customer that pays, we should get 30 cents of their payment distributed to the, I don't know. It seems like a lot for the actors to be asking for a person, because they don't even have any stake in the streaming services, and a lot of these streaming services, mind you, they're not profitable. The only one that I think actually has turned a profit is Netflix now, and it took them over a decade to do so. But Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, all the other streaming services right now, they are working at a loss. They are losing money. They're not making money at the moment from their streaming service, which is crazy with how much money they pump into the streaming service. But I digress. Now, one of the things that this is going to cause, and you're already seeing it causing, you're going to see a lot more delays, and you're going to see a lot more pushback of movies from this year to next year. Even next year movies, I think, are going to get pushed a couple months down the line here. And we're already seeing it take effect. I mean, this came out just the other day. The Austin Butler and Tom Hardy drama, The Bike Riders, which was supposed to come out December 1st of this year, has now been delayed indefinitely because these studios and these actors, they just cannot agree. This was a big head bump against each other. They're not budging. No movement is happening right now. It seems like the studios have walked away from the tables pretty angrily. Who knows what's going to get the studios to come back to the table? It took them a while to come back to the table already for the actors. This is just bad news, guys, all around the board for us movie fans and for the actors. I mean, these poor actors, they've been on strike for over I think they've been over 100 days, but at this point, they're not working. A lot of them are losing insurance and benefits because they're not working the amount of hours that they need to work in order to hit those insurances. They're losing jobs, or they're losing homes, I'm sure. It's just bad all the way around. And hopefully it can get resolved soon, but it's not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of the actors' strike hitting this wall, the studios, the actors not coming to an agreement, walking away from each other? Do you think they'll come back to the table rather quickly? Do you think we can still get this resolved by the end of this year, or do you think this is a 2024 issue? Comment down below and let me know.